So the title of today's talk is How to Overcome Difficult Bosses. First of all, you can see I'm outside today on a beautiful lake on a cool fall afternoon, and I just want to thank my friends the Shepherds for letting me use this cabin of theirs for a mini retreat, sermon planning, and so forth. It's really helped clear out my head, and I recommend this for anybody to get away and have quiet time when you can. I do want to say, first of all, when I talk about how to overcome difficult bosses, this is not about any of my current bosses. So be relieved if you are watching this. This is not about you. This was a particular boss that I had a number of years ago at a previous job. It was one of the few female bosses I've had, and I have no lack of respect for her. She is a great person and taught me a lot. But I want to share, she was a different style than me. This woman was a micromanager. If you've ever had those bosses, some of us don't do well with that constantly want to tell you what they think is best and not letting you succeed in what you think is best in your job, even though I had done pretty well when I was at this particular position. And so at this particular time, I remember it had to be 10, 12 years ago, I was late for a conference call. I knew I was late. I got on the phone and everything seemed to be fine, but as soon as the phone call was over, she called me and just lit into me. And in my opinion, it was much worse than what actually had happened. It seemed like she always got over defensive on things that I was doing and just really criticized things that I didn't think were always fair. But I remember something I'd read in a book I've referenced here before, the How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. And he uses a story in there that I kind of put a twist on my own experience, and it worked. So what happened is she called me back and was just railing into me for what I did and for being late and how irresponsible this was, lack of leadership and all this. And I sat there and I said, you know what? You're right. I should have known better. I know better. This was a terrible mistake. I know this is wrong. And she said, well, yeah, that's what I was telling you. I said, you know what? I have to know better. You need to be harder on me this. You need to hold me close. You need to hold me more accountable for things like this because I know better. I shouldn't be doing this. And she said, well, yeah, but you don't usually do this. I know you're not usually like this. And I said one more time, I said, yes, but that was really extremely unprofessional. I have to know better. I'm extremely embarrassed. And because I was getting so down on myself, human nature acted, she wanted to protect me. So then she completely changed positions and said, you know what? That's fine. It's really not a big deal. I'm sorry I called and brought this up. I know you'll do better. And then she was really positive about things were going on. So a little tip, if somebody's getting down on you, and I'm sure kids ever watch this, if this happens to your parents, if you're ever getting criticized for something, whether it's all your fault or a little bit your fault, get extra defensive yourself. Really put yourself, not put yourself down, but put yourself in an experience that I should know better and really criticize yourself. The more you do this, the more the other person is apt to want to stick up for you and be on your side. I want to share a scripture in today's devotion, one that many of you know if you've had any time in church. And this is Psalm 23. And this is a Psalm of David where he said, the Lord is my shepherd, I lack nothing. He makes me lay down in green pastures. He leads me beside quiet waters. He refreshes my soul. He guides me along the right path for his name's sake. Even though I walk through the darkest valley, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup overflows. Surely your goodness and love will follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. I love this psalm because if you don't know much about David and his experiences, many of you know about his experience when he was younger and slaying the giant, but he was in line to be king. Yet his boss, the king at the time, Saul, was a guy that brought him up, but as soon as David started doing better than him and started getting more recognition and more praise, he got extremely jealous and he was trying to kill David. David constantly was hiding from King Saul. And the funny thing, there's a couple of different times David had him where him and his men could have easily killed Saul and everybody would have understood because he was trying to kill David and he could have protected himself. But even then he said, God has appointed him this king, this leadership. I'm not going to take that away from him. And I think sometimes we need to do that as bosses. There's a reason God has put your boss in front of you. It may not be easy to understand at the time, but we need to understand that God has done this and try to see what can we learn from this. So besides using this brilliant strategy to get discipline and getting sympathy out of it, I next want you to do this one step. Find a way to submit yourself and learn from your boss. Because I can tell you, as much as her and I did not get along for those first couple of years, because I really thought I knew what was best, finally I said, you know what? I'm not going to leave my job because I love my job. I've got to find a way to get along with her. So I started listening to her and picking up tips. She did teach me things I didn't know. Now, not everything I agreed with her on, but I learned to be agreeable with her. I learned to work with her and try to do what she was teaching me. And because of that, we became friends. She taught me an awful lot about sales and leadership that I wouldn't have learned on my own because I thought I knew what was best. Now, not everything I always agreed with, but I found out a way to be agreeable with her and work with her. And I suggest that with your boss, whatever struggles you have, now if they're doing something illegal or immoral, find help, get help with that. But if it's just something that's hard to get along with, you're feeling unfairly taken advantage of, find ways. What can you learn from your boss? What can you learn to get better? How can you learn to work with them to show them that you're trying to do what they are wanting you to do? I leave you this last quote, as I often like to do. This is from Pastor Matt Brown when he says, "Wisdom allows you to know what you don't know and be okay with it." Sometimes we need to know what is right and what is not and just be okay with the situation. Have a great day.